podcast. Today, I have my friend Gene Blinkov live from Italy. He's somewhere along the coast in Italy. He went to the beach today. He was telling me offline. But today's episode is it's gonna be pretty good. Let me tell you why. I met Gene. I would say it was somewhere around 2018 in Louisiana, actually, at a Chris Root event. It was the skills get the deals or something like that, or
Skillathon.
skeleton. Yeah, skeleton. That's right. And I don't remember what you were working at the time, but I think it was like a video with drones and I don't know. You had a team with you, and you were telling me about these videos with drones and all that, and Keon, who was my business partner at the time, knew you.
Yeah.
So shout out to Keon. I don't know where he's at, but I haven't talked to that guy in a very long time. But then we connected, and then you started doing other things like marketing, Facebook, and then finally you came up and started I Speak to Leads, which is I think where you started like having massive success. But I don't want to tell the story. I rather for you to tell your story on who you are. Like, where do you come from? Where are you from, Gene?
Wait a second. A little camera.
Yeah, the camera played a trick on you, man. Yeah,
Camera
there you
glitch.
go.
There we go. Sorry about that.
It's so good, man.
Ricardo, first of all, man, thank you for having me, brother. It's been a pleasure knowing you, being friends with you, man. Ever since we met. I mean, we met there, and I remember you were like the most stylish man at the Skillathon. I was like, who's that guy in a sick ass shirt, man, with them shoes, man.
Yeah, that, that's how you call the attention. I don't
Yeah,
do that
man.
anymore, but I
That
used to
is,
do it at the time.
yeah, and you had it, man. So that's awesome. And then we got to be at your event in man, I
In
forget what
Miami.
city. You've done them at a few cities, man. So yeah, I think it was Miami.
Yeah, that one, the one you went to that you spoke for the first time on a stage was
It
in
was
that event. You didn't want to do it.
I forget if it was first time or second time, but it was like one of the first times I was on stage. Yeah, it's like, and that was so cool, and I was so appreciative of you guys because I was like, yeah, stage. I'm like, and you were like, yeah, go up there, man. And Keon was like, go up there, and then Keon supported me from the room also. Like,
Yeah.
it was incredible. It was awesome. So and that event was fire. We got to have a booth there. That was the first time Speech Elite ever had a booth anywhere.
Yeah.
So dude, it was awesome. But yeah, so when you and I first met, like my first thing was I used to work in software companies for like, I don't know, 10 years before I started doing anything myself. And like I went to college. I'm an immigrant, right? I'm an immigrant from We immigrated from Kyrgyzstan when I was like 15. And so in US it was like, I didn't even think about entrepreneurship that much. I had a little bug, but it was like, all right, we're immigrants. Don't screw this up. Don't disappoint your mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? It was like, at least get somewhere where they expect you to be. Okay. So, like, go to college, get a job, stuff like that. But while I was working the jobs, it was always in software. And so while I was working, I just made sure that I was always trying to grab like different departments, understand how different departments of a company work. And I would meet with a bunch of like I would try to just like meet executives like this department, that department, try to interview them. It was always interesting to me, like, how do you run a whole department, like so many people? And the guy was just like chilling there and everything's working. And it just always fascinated me. And so um that was that. And then once I just had this like burning desire to start something, at the time it was there was the I had a little bit of a hobby with drones, and it was the right opportunity because that was the point where they first became commercial. You could use them for business purposes. That was safe enough, and so that was my first gig. But and that kind of got me into real estate because I started filming listings for agents in Boston, and I got started filming listing for agents. Then I stopped filming. I hired a couple of guys that were filming. I hired a team in Ukraine that was editing the videos because at some point I would film like four listings, and then in the evening get to the co-working space and start editing, and then it's like 8 a.m. and I'm like, dude, I'm still editing this stuff, and I have more gigs today. Let's hire somebody. So I hired these Ukrainian guys to do video editing, and so that at that point, like there was a couple things that happened in my life where I was like, all right, I need another stream. This is not enough. I need another stream of income, and that's when um, you ask the universe for something, it responds. It's like, here's an opportunity. I saw an ad with Chris Root and Grant Cardone about this wholesaling thing, and I was like, all right, well, this sounds easy. This sounds like I could do it. Marketing, talking to sellers, selling. I already know. I already was learning sales from Grant Cardone at that point. Like, let me jump into this thing with Chris Root. And so at the time, I was working IBM full time, and then I was doing the drone thing part time as a business. And then I picked up this Chris Root course. Man, and actually, no, this is crazy. I had two Airbnbs that was like, I was doing arbitrage. Before it was cool, I was doing arbitrage, right? Two Airbnbs. I had the drone business, and then I was working full time at IBM, and I picked up this Chris Root thing. And I was so cash strapped at the time because I just spun up my second Airbnb. I actually bought the Chris Root course on a credit card, on a corporate credit card, on an IBM credit card. I bought. I was not supposed to do.
What
I had
not
it
to do, right? Hey, do not try
no,
this at home, guys.
dude. I was a project manager, and so I had a credit card to like take out customers and like book travel and stuff like that. It had a pretty high limit. It was a Amex, dude. It was Darren Shanks. I don't know if you remember the.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, so it was Darren Shanks who closed me, and I was like, dude, can you do terms on this coaching program? He's like, yeah, we can do a little payment plan. So I was like, swipe, Amex, whatever, I'll pay it off, I'll figure it out. But then I jumped into the wholesaling community with Chris Root. I learned a bunch about it, and I was like, man, with my skill set, with marketing, because I'm already marketing this drone business while I couldn't sell on the phone, like I had a job, so I had to use SEO, I had to use ads to market myself. And I'm like, this wholesaling gig, why don't I help these guys market instead of doing the wholesaling myself? I'll be probably more useful. And so I started running ads for people in that community. And at first I did it for free. Then I started charging money. And then I became like the ads guy for wholesalers, for a lot of wholesalers in that community. And that community and like a bunch of cliques around it. And so that was cool. And we grew the agency to like 100 customers. And agency is a nice business. It's like pretty high margin.
I love it. I that's what I do now, man. It's I love recurring. I love, it. I know exactly what we're hitting next month and where we need to do to get to the next level. And um, in my case, I deal with a lot of people, right? So because it's people, heavy on people because of cold callers, lead managers, closers, dispo people, and but I think I bought my time back by going an agency route, helping other real estate investors do what they do, which is we're both doing the same at the end of the day. We just have different tools. Your tool is one and mine is another one. But anyhow, you were saying the agency model is it's amazing.
Yeah, so we grew that, but it was like, all right, 100 customers, like we got some staff, and honestly, like there was not a good enough reason to start something else, except that I just had a bug to like do something that stood out that was even more scalable than the agency. I wasn't just trying to make money; like the money was good enough, but I was like, you know what? Anybody can start an agency and start competing with us. What if they get better than we are? And then like what's our competitive advantage in this whole thing? Let's think about how we can take this agency thing and take it even more people. What they call democratize it. These PPC leads. Why don't we do something that allows even like a person that is not looking for an agency but wants leads, is a wholesaler, is a real estate investor. Let's try to get them on the hook somehow. And so we're like, okay, so let's build a platform where you can come in and buy the freaking lead. And so the risk was basically developing the platform, so the software, right? And I was like, I mentioned earlier, right, that I hired these Ukrainian video editors. I actually, a couple of years before Speed to Lead, I traveled to Ukraine, and I just to meet them because they've done such a good job for me. We've done like we became like number one in Boston as far as the drone videos. It was like, I think it was like 500 listings that we filmed in the couple of years that
Wow.
we did. It was good. We did a bunch of apartment buildings, like commercial warehouses. Cushman Wakefield was a customer. It was great. And so while I was meeting them in Ukraine, and I just went there to hang out. Plus, I have like Ukrainian roots, so I've never been there. I was like, let's go there. This was before the war. While I was there, I actually met my wife, my future wife at the time. And so we started dating. I'm like back and forth between US and Ukraine. And then I moved to Ukraine, and started living there full time. And so it was like, at that point, I was like, all right, I'm in Ukraine. There's all these software engineers. It's crazy. You go to a coffee shop in Ukraine, dude, everybody writing code.
Yeah.
People are just writing code. It's nuts. And I was like, whoa, dude. And I've spent so much time in software, and I'm like, all right, we've got software engineers in US, obviously, but like, hey, it's a little bit more expensive. Plus, like, I don't see them coding in the evening at the coffee shop. I see them, at the bar or like hanging out at home doing the straight 9 to 5. So I'm like, all right, we want to do this thing with leads. I'm in Ukraine and I've got all these software engineers. Let's put two and two together, throw some money at it. So that was the risk, right? The money to put together the platform, and then the money to basically start generating the leads,
Yeah, to do
and
the PPC campaigns.
yeah, and then throw them up there and see if people actually start buying them. That was a huge. Thinking back, I'm glad it was kind of crazy and like had rose colored glasses, because like shit, that was a risky move. What if people wouldn't buy them?
You're
So
right. Well, then you will have to like sell them cheaper just to get your money back, pretty much.
correct, yeah, yeah, exactly. And so, but luckily, like we had the agency, so that allowed us the breathing room, for the few months that we were starting to figure it out. And so we launched Speed to Lead, and it was basically we just guessed it correctly. Like people, to close an agency customer to work with you, is going to take you like 3, 4, 5 calls sometimes. Huge attrition rate. Whereas here, it's a $200 decision, and it's not a recurring decision. You at first people just come into the platform, come into ispeedtolead.com, and they can just buy one lead and check it out. And a lot of people just kind of start getting the bug, like, all right, that was way too easy. I didn't have to do nothing. I just clicked, bought. It was a PPC lead. They wanted to sell, and if there was any issue ever, we have like a great refund policy. If there's because leads they change their mind. No, my wife said we're not selling. We're gonna do something, or we're gonna borrow the money to figure out our problem or whatever. That happens. We give refunds for those, and so it started growing because it's just like it's easy to sign people up. Plus, we built an actual platform whereas there's other pay per lead companies, but with us, it's like transparent. You can see the leads right there in front of you. It's like super transparent. You can see what you're buying. You can see what other people are buying. And dude, it's just started growing, growing, growing. At this point, it's like I don't like to talk about like numbers. I think it should be kind of kept secret, otherwise it's a little bit boasting. But it's what you call it. How do you call it? It's high six figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high six figures. It's not 7 figures per month, but it's high 6 figures per month at this point, which is like we never even thought that that's possible when we
That's
started.
yeah, yeah. Even if you thought it's possible, when you're not, when you're barely breaking in low five figures, you're like that quantum leap from low five figures to high six figures. It seems like it's years away from getting there.
Yeah, yeah,
But you found something that worked. So when you have something that's desirable and is priced correctly and it works, the word of mouth is going to spread like wildfire, and people are going to start jumping on board over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, and this was so it's been like 2.5 years, and and if you look at the platform, we're optimizing it all the freaking time. We're basically a software company with a big marketing department, with a big lead gen department, and so we just added comps on there. So we're paying a data company to do comping, and so basically somebody that wants to buy a lead, we have comps there already. So for you, like even before you make the decision to buy the lead, you see the similar houses next to it. Wouldn't show you the house you're buying because then you don't need to buy it. But comps we show you. So then you call. You don't have to go anywhere to comp it out. We just added cash buyers on there. So now before you buy a lead, you'll see like, hey, here's how many cash buyers and flippers are in that area from deal speed. And so, should I buy this lead? Should I not buy this lead? Um, how many buyers are even in that area? So we're adding stuff all the freaking time. And then now we added the Dispo platform. Just started it like a few weeks ago, but it's like we've been working on it since January and just launched it. So that's pretty exciting news. Just crushing it. We've got other plans for next January. That's basically it. Yeah, it's just going to be another cool thing that will provide yet another.
Another add-on, let's call it that way. Another
Yeah,
add-on to what you got going on already. So
yeah.
let's talk about let's talk about high speed to leads first, okay? So basically, high speed to leads, the way I see it, is a la carte PPC leads. I
That's a
go
good
on
way
your,
to say it. That's a good way to say it.
I go on your website, I log on, I start looking at the possible leads that I want, like maybe on my city or per state or however, right? Like the region. And then the leads have a price. And I noticed they got different pricing. Like some leads are $100, some leads are $300. Like what what makes the price? What is the difference in pricing? Like, can you give me an idea?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for asking this because a lot of people have this question, and we probably don't talk about this enough. So we've got a data scientist and actually two data scientists now on the team that are constantly understanding, like, all right, out of the leads that we generate, how many of them did our customers close? What kind of leads they were? What were the attributes that those lead had? Like, was it a vacant? Was it a retirement motivation? All of that stuff. Okay, and so that was we took number one. We took the parameters. At first, we just took the parameters which we thought would be more likely to close into a deal, and then base the pricing off of that. And everybody knows them. Like the more repairs the home needs, the more negotiating room you have there to create
Right.
to create a wedge there. The more motivation, the more stronger the motivation. Same thing. But now we're actually also looking at, all right, because everybody, so inside of ISP to lead, you can actually, there's like a mini CRM where you can set statuses for the
I
leads.
saw that.
Yeah, and a lot of people use it. You know what's crazy is like we ran a survey to our customers, and we've got like thousands of registered users. Not like we only have a couple thousand that buy regularly, but there's like thousands of people that come in. They'll buy like once a month or like
Right.
once in 2 months and stuff like that. Overall, there's over 20,000 people with a registered login. And so we started looking at, all right, the people. Oh, and we ran the survey to them, and it was like, which CRM do you use? And the most popular column, the most popular choice was no CRM.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, let's add these basic features so they can at least track statuses, because there's some people that like just like speed to leads their main lead source, and so by judging by those statuses, we can kind of extrapolate what types of leads actually close into deals. And so we run some of those stats, and then we kind of go off of that to adjust the pricing on some of the more resultative leads, some of the more attractive leads. Plus, there's certain markets that are just high demand. Like a San Francisco lead will be way more expensive than a I don't know, a lead in
Topeka, Kansas.
Texarkana or something like
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's basically the formula there.
You know what's crazy? You said right now that you did a survey and the majority didn't have a CRM. Well, today we onboarded a new client who's not a wholesaler, he's just a fix and flipper.
Hmm.
And I asked him, I said, what kind of CRM do you use? He said, what's that? And I was like, how long have you been in business now? He said, 27 years. And he's very successful.
Damn.
No CRM. And I'm like, so how do you nurture your leads, man? Like, he's like, dude, I got a yellow pad. So I guess he just goes through his notes and says, "Oh, I gotta call Zusi today," and he just pounds the phone again and gets his deals like that. That guy's flipping a bunch of houses now. He's not wholesaling. He's just taking them down and cleaning them up and relisting them or fixing them up. But you
That-
mentioned that, and I always thought people use CRMs because, man, since I remember, I've been having a CRM. Uh, Now I build multiple systems like on Podio, on Airtable, on Trello, on Go High Level, whatever. Like because to me, a lead is like it never goes to waste. They're just not ready today, but they'll be ready maybe 5 years down the road.
yeah,
So I want to keep all these people somewhere. That way I can follow up later on. So all right. So you came up with I speak to leads first, and it's a la carte PPC leads. Which, by the way, for those of you that are listening out here, PPC leads are the hottest leads you guys can get your hands on. Period. And by the way, I'm an advocate to the cold calling leads. I love cold calling leads. Why? Because they're cheaper. That's the reality. A cold calling lead is much cheaper than a PPC lead. But the PPC lead will always have more motivation because they're looking for you. On a cold calling lead, you're looking. We are looking for them. So it's a different relationship. I also say that if you're running if you ever want to run a big shop like a wholesaling, multiple contracts per month, or maybe take down a bunch of properties a month, you need a little bit of everything, pretty much. Now, uh, there are friends of ours that we have that they only do PPC because they're turning high volume contracts all the time. Um, and they don't waste their energy on like cold callers and things like that because they're like, nah, I just dial up my credit card spend and I get more leads, pretty much, right?
yeah,
Um, and now on the cold calling side, it takes longer, but the contracts are cheaper. So I just wanted to clarify that. Now it's simple. You want a lead today, you just go on ispeed2lead.com, you create an account, the leads are there, you pay. If you only want to try with one lead, you pay for that with a credit card, and you're done. You get your lead. Now you got to talk to the person and make sure you get negotiate good the terms or whatnot. How did like when did you say, okay, ISP to leads is solid, we have a good client base, I need to go on the disposition side now? What happened? Like when did you come up with that idea?
yeah, man. So
Which is brilliant, by the way. I mean, it is fucking brilliant. I knew somebody had to do it. I was telling you earlier, I thought about doing it, and then I said, "Oh man, I don't have like a lot. Like I have developers. I got like 4 or 5 developers, but I'm like, I don't have an army of developers, and I think it's gonna be a shiny object for me."
hmm
And I didn't even try. But
I
on
see.
your case, you have a successful business already, which is I speak to leads. Why do you go to the dispo side?
Yeah. So as with a lot of decisions, it's like it's never any one thing. It's like it's usually like a few things that happen, and you're like, all right, that tidal wave is just enough to like to turn the freaking to turn the switch on. And one of those things was just like, all right, we've got all these customers, and we've got this wave, and I think RJ Bates was very instrumental in creating that wave of nationwide wholesaling because
By
he
the
did the
way,
whole.
there's a guy Stephen Kohler. He's always logging in our show. You were on the cage match with RJ and Jerry, is what he says there. So shout
Absolutely,
out to Stephen.
absolutely. Shout out, Steven. Yeah, yeah, we were. So they were actually calling our leads yesterday on that cage match. That was awesome, by the way. That was an awesome event. And so um, RJ makes this whole thing with like nationwide wholesaling. First, it was Nick Perry. He kind of went nationwide, but he did it like with some elite folks. Folks that had some money to invest into coaching, basically. And then RJ gets into the game with like 50 deals in 50 states. And man, I was doing this thing with RJ way before he was doing the 50 deals in 50 states. I think it was way back when we started like sending him some leads, some nationwide leads. So we go back a long time. Same thing with Nick. And so I'm like, all right, there's these nationwide wholesalers. We've got customers that we want them to buy more leads nationwide. We want them to buy leads in other areas because the problem with any kind of PPC, and I think that for the next 3 years, like a lot of people will figure out how to do deals in other places besides just where they are physically. Because like with
Bro,
people,
right now you're in Italy. I'm in Venezuela.
yeah, oh, you are? No way.
Yeah, I'm in my call center right now. I got all my people here. We have 50 people here on the office, and we're buying and selling deals in the US.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome. That's crazy.
So, and a lot
Sometimes
of those deals, dude, a lot of those deals they're not for me. They're actually for our clients, for people that are running wholesaling operations, and we just provide the service, just like you provide the leads.
yeah, yeah. So it was like that nationwide wave of wholesalers, and we started hearing these complaints from people like, "Oh, I got this contract signed, but it's in a 20,000 people town,
I
or it's
can't
in a
sell it. Yeah.
50,000 people town. I'm having a hard time selling it." And we started looking like, all right, let's go, and we just like, at first we just like went to PropStream and like, all right, is there really no buyers in that freaking city? And we looked at it, and it's weird because like there might not be buyers that live in that city,
But there
but
are buyers that are willing to drive to that city.
right, yeah, there's buyers that have bought in that city before, they just don't live there. And so we started scratching our heads, and we obviously heard about it. I mean, there's a couple of dispo solutions out there, but they're like very limited and very expensive. And our customers, like a lot of them, couldn't afford it. And so we're like, all right, put the two and two together. We've got we've got the software team to do it. We've got, we kind of understand the other companies what they had to do to get there. Obviously, the data is a big piece. Like that. I mean, it's an expensive contract with a data company. What are you going to do? It's an expensive contract with skip tracing companies. Like, what are you going to do? Whatever. And so put the two into together, started working on it. And then it was also like the fact that what we wanted to create, and I think we're getting there now with, especially now with Dispo, is like it's a pain in the butt for somebody to be in one platform and then to log out of that platform and to log or to like switch from one platform and go work in your CRM in a completely different system and then go into a dispo and work in a completely different third system. That's screen switching and all of that stuff. Actually, that takes a lot of time to refocus. There's even a statistic that it takes you like 30 minutes to fully refocus once you switch from one app to another. And so we had this dream of basically creating a space where, like, all right, I can go buy a lead, I can go call that lead, I can enter my notes into the CRM, all within the same platform. Once I get the deal signed, I can go and find a title company. And inside of DealSpeed, you can, like, there's a list of all title
Right.
companies in America. I can like start doing that. So inside of DealSpeed, you also about a week, we're adding a thing. It's basically like a boots on the ground section, and it's nothing but just like some vendors that offer boots on the ground, like Home
Right,
Jab.
I'm gonna hook you up offline. I'll tell you about a guy that has a company that they do that, and the guy's good.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder. I wonder. Like we've got a couple, and so that, yeah, that's great. And so, and do all of those things like in one system. Like take care of the customers for like half a day, and make them productive from cradle to the grave of a deal. And it's just a crazy, like, it's a cool dream to have, to just like have enough there, and it's all working from lead to dispo. You can be on the same platform. And that's how, deal speed was there. Plus we wanted to be, we just wanted to also, not gonna lie, we wanted to be differentiated from all the other PPL companies. We don't just want to be a pay per lead company. I actually don't like when people compare us to a pay per lead company. Like, I mean, if you put two and two together, like they're very different. You like
Yeah.
speed to lead. There's a marketplace. There's like lead cards. There's all these ways to buy leads. There's like different subscriptions that get you different stuff. There's dispo. We're adding more stuff, and so I just want to be like in our own friggin' thing. Not like I like competing, and I don't. I think it's also kind of stupid. Like I like being in like my own customers, our own little world. We run our own shit. We have our own lingo, and we're happier that way. I've always been inspired by those businesses that are just like, you can't put them in a box. You can't put them in a box.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So I have a VA company, right? I'm actually going to change the name because I don't consider my company a VA company anymore. My company is a team member company. It's different.
Okay.
So we're providing team members to teams, like, and this is how it happened, Gene. I was running a wholesaling operation, and I had over 100 people working on my staff. So, but 50 were working with me, with same as cash. The other 50 were like with my students and with people that were like, they were like, hey, can you hook me up with somebody that you train? And I'm like, sure. So one day I started getting more requests, like, hey, can you give me somebody? Can you give me somebody? And I'm like, and I was struggling with selling deals at the time because it was somewhere around 2022. If you remember, the last quarter of 2022 was horrible. Like,
Yep.
their interest rates went up, and now I have a staff of 100, dude. That's a big payroll, and I'm getting hit like every month with that, and I'm like, well, if I just get these other 50 I have with clients, I'm good. Now I'm profitable on that side. But I
Okay.
have to shut down my wholesaling business if I were to do that. And that's exactly what I did. I shut down the wholesaling side and I went over to the service side full 100%. I had to let go of some people, unfortunately, at the time because I just couldn't continue to keep up with a payroll that large.
Yeah.
Um, and even 100 people overseas, it doesn't matter. It's still a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and 2 or 3 months without making good money, then you're bound to like cut your teeth. So um, that's how we did it. And I don't know where I went with that, but at the end of the day, I sort of transitioned from the operator on a wholesaling business to an operator on the services business. And that's what we do today. So when when I was introduced to Yuri, you connected me with Yuri, and I saw the demo. I called one of my guys and I said, "Hey, Juan, he's one of my main dispo guys, but he's working with a client right now." And I was like, "Look at this platform. Let's see if we can push a deal there. Like, take a look at it." And he's like, "Dude, this is amazing!" Like, he loved it right away. I don't know, maybe the way the layout of your platform and the colors and all that. And he's like, can we get the clients on that platform? And I said, yeah, that's why we're connecting with Gene, so we can offer another tool. Because at the end of the day, you can still sell deals on the marketplace, you can still sell deals on Facebook, you can still sell deals on call calling by skip tracing buyers. Okay, is another tool on the tool belt, and why not add it to it? And and I don't want to mention any other company. There's a few other companies that are that have data, and they're all great. I think
Oh yeah,
different price points. Some of them are even free. And
true, true, very true. Yeah, which is very
it,
competitive, very smart. I mean,
how do you compete with free?
I
Like,
know, I know. Yeah,
like
yeah,
but he like on like, and I don't want to mention his name, but this guy that has this free platform, he makes money in a whole different way. That like I was actually connected with him earlier today. I told him about you. I said, hey, I'm gonna interview Gene, and he's like, oh yeah, and I said he's got this new platform called I Speed to Deals, and he's like, really? Tell me more about it. And I'm telling him, and he's like, yeah, I give mine away for free because my play is different. Like, and when he told me what his play was, I was like, I was like, shit, man. Like, there are people just doing business in a way that sometimes for you and me might not make sense, but for him, it makes complete sense on why he needs to give it away for free. He's not making money on the end user. He's making money on the people behind the data, the stuff, the everything he's growing, right?
yeah,
Um, so it took you 6 months roughly, or 5 months actually, because you the first time I heard about it was probably about a month or two ago, right?
yeah, yeah. Just about. Yeah. Well, we kind of we heard there was another piece of news that we got that I'm not going to talk about back in November, which was like, all right, this is now definitely part of our strategy. Like we were already thinking about dispo, now we definitely have to do it. It had to do with some competitive landscape, um, and I was like, we just got some information, like a thing that a competitor did was like, not even a competitor, a thing that another company did was like, all right, if we don't do this now, we might regret it.
Right.
So let's start working on it, and then we started working on it. And it sucks because we would have launched it earlier, but we launched it once with the first design, and it was like good enough. But then it was like, we got to simplify that shit. So we had to kind of like, there was like another deal speed before there was a deal speed that we
Right.
kind of we throw away the design and then reworked it. But it's all good. And then we just kind of it was cool launching it because it took a lot of people by surprise. Like nobody, we never announced it, we never pre-announced it, which is kind of how we like to do things. Never pre-announced it, never nothing, and then one day we just like boom, come out with it, launch it. People are like, holy crap, I can't believe you guys are competing with so and so and like this and that, and that fired us up even more. So it was just like we wanted that element of surprise, which I don't know if like anybody from the competitors even cares, but like for our customers it was cool, and so it was exciting. It was a and you have no idea how many, Ricardo, how many messages I get every single day from people that are like, oh my god, I can't believe someone finally came out with like an affordable solution for this. And it's not cheap. I mean, it's $300 a month, um, which that's like in the higher tier of like subscription
Yeah,
data.
it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than
It's
many other
cheaper.
things that are out there, right? And it's kind of like one. You only have one tier, for what I understand, right? There's no
Right
multiple
now, yeah,
tiers.
right. Exactly. Right now, yeah, we're not complicating it. Just like, hey, come in there, try it. Not trying to sign you up for a year. Not trying to sign you up for something crazy. Not trying to like
That's how we do our service, Gene. I said, look, just come and try me for a month, man. No commitments. Like, I want you to stay with us because we did such a good job that you will want to continue to work with us. But if you don't like what we do, or the way we produce leads for you, or whatever, or the way we call, or our executive assistants are treating you, then hey, go on your own. And our retention rate is pretty high. We do have clients that are all, of course, just like you do, that come in. Oh, your cold caller doesn't work. I was like, well, your list sucks, dude. Like, you should try a better skip tracing company, right? And then you tell them, go get the data here. Don't I think we lost Gene for a second. So go get the data here. Don't just go and I think he's back. So Um, Now how do I let him in? Here he is. Yeah, you disappeared on me.
Oh, was that me?
Yeah, you
Okay.
dropped your phone or what, dude?
What happened to the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I think it's
I don't know
your
what happened to the
Wi-Fi is
Wi-Fi.
getting flaky. But yeah, like we want to make sure that people that are staying with us, they're staying with us because we're doing a good job, not because we're forcing them to an agreement. You know how many people I talked to? I was talking to a friend of mine, um, like I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. He paid this media company for a lot of video editing, reels and podcasts. And when he told me what he was paying a month for the amount of work he was getting done, I almost fell out of my chair, man. I was like, what? Like, why are you paying this much? And he's like, well, that's what so and so was charging at this event. And I signed up and I can't get out of it because I'm on a contract with them.
Hmm.
And we do the same thing. We produce more content than his company does for a third of the cost. And there's no contract, like, because I don't know if tomorrow you come in and you say, hey, Ricardo, I want to be one of your clients, so can you produce this content for me, right? Sure. And then 3 months down the road you fall in hard times and you can't make the payment because and you're like, hey man, I gotta cancel this thing because I don't have money right now. I gotta, like, imagine you being stuck in the Ukraine when the war broke out and you couldn't cancel services and things that you were paying that were probably irrelevant for you at the time. But no, you have an agreement here. You gotta stick to the whole agreement, and you're like, dude, hold on a second. Like maybe I don't have any money right now, and because I gotta escape this country, right? I'm just using that as an example. I'm not gonna say
Yeah, but
that was the case.
that actually happened. So my co-founder, he usually lives in Europe, um, and he's using a office space that there's a contract, and it's crazy because like he actually right before the war broke out, we had so we have a Ukrainian team, we have some people in Europe, and so every quarter before the war, every quarter we would get together in the capital in Kiev and just have fun, like do whatever, like go to bowling, just get
Yeah,
together
yeah.
as a team.
It's a
You know,
team building
yeah,
event.
we would do like one day of planning, dreaming, sitting down like at a round table, like having dinner, talking about like how what else we would do for customers. And it's crazy because like some people traveled from Europe, and my co-founder traveled from Europe, uh, and then the war happened the next day, and he couldn't get out of the country. He couldn't get out of Ukraine to go back home to his fiance and everything, and he got stuck there for like 3 months. He couldn't get out. He was
It's
basically
crazy.
like already a European resident, but it was still like, yeah, no, no, like men are not getting out of there. And but he still had to pay for the office space because of the contract. So that's a great example of that.
That's crazy, man. But hey, um, we don't want people to do business with us like that. If you can't make it next month for some reason, hey, so just I'll be ready when you are again. You know what I mean? Like that's the philosophy we take. Um, and I don't want to hold anybody to some sort of an agreement that they can't, for some reason, if life comes to them for a reason, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy that I'm like, no, you got to pay me X because you said you were going to do this. I was like, no, man, go figure your thing out first, and then we'll do the rest. So all right, guys, we're coming up on like almost an hour on this podcast, getting to know Gene better and his journey into the real estate world. Now, have you done any flips or rentals or anything like that, Gene?
You know what's crazy? I have never done a single wholesale deal. Never done
That's
none. So back when I was like younger, I was arbitraging some B and B's. Like I said before it like became a cool thing. Back then it was like just like a barely anybody was doing it, which was cool. But after that, I was kind of doing it illegally. It was like I got caught with the landlords. I was a hothead back then. I was just like opportunistic, I was making bank though, because like Boston Airbnbs was like, dude, summertime when the graduations in Cambridge, Mass, like MIT, Harvard, it was like $500 a night for a two
wow.
bedroom place. Yeah, two bed, two bath place in Cambridge. I was paying 3 grand rent, and freaking B and B was $500 a night. It was wild. It was nice.
Yeah, 10 nights is 5K. You're already making 2,000. And if you keep it busy 20, 25 nights, then you're
Oh yeah.
killing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so, and then some of them people cancel, and you still get to keep the money. Like, oof, dude. Like, yeah, it was pretty good back then. But never done a wholesale deal. I own a few properties. Like I own some stuff in Europe. I own some stuff in Ukraine, but I've never actually like I have property that's like sitting there not even rented out, dude. I'm not I'm not a freaking it's just chilling there. And
Yeah.
it's nice to, and we're sitting there like, if we kind of like built it for ourselves. If we start renting it out, uh they're gonna destroy it. We're like, nah, it's not worth it. Let's just focus on software. So I never looked at it as like income thing. I probably shoulda and coulda and all that stuff, but it just and then there's another point. We kind of like don't want to compete with our customers. I could flip a freaking thing tomorrow. Like I could wholesale probably take 10 deals a day with the amount of leads that we've got, but I know it's going to take away focus. I know it's going to start like people are going to start talking like, all right, they're
That's
poaching the
the
best
same reason I
leads.
shut down my wholesaling business.
Yeah, it's a
Just
lot
the
of
same thing you're saying is because if I kept on wholesaling, then it's gonna take away from my focus on serving people. So, you know, I don't want to compete with my clients. Maybe I'll JV with them because I
mm,
have a call center. I can feed some leads to those guys and let them do the work, and which is something I'm gonna start doing pretty soon. Um, but anyhow, Gene, next week at the same time, the same day on Thursday, we're gonna meet and we're gonna see I speed to deals and maybe I speed to leads as well. Why not take a look at both systems to see how you can generate a lead, put it on the contract basically, and then dispo the deal. And maybe you can show us some examples of how that happened within your platform.
yep,
Without having to disclose like addresses and things like that.
sure,
Um,
sure.
um, Maybe I don't know if you have a client that can come on board and say, "Hey, this is how this thing worked, and this I got a lead, bought it for $300, put it on a contract. Now it's on iSpeed to deals and is getting sold for X, and this is my spread." So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
we'll do that. Yeah, it's yeah, we'll do that. It's awesome. Like and that's one rewarding part, man. And I'm sure you know this too. Is when customers are closing deals, and we generate like 300 leads a day, man. So you can imagine the amount of stuff that gets closed
that's a lot. We're generating right now 3 leads a day per agent.
per agent. Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So let's say we have 50 agents. Is about half of what you're generating.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, nice.
but they're different leads, because your lead is looking for you. Our lead we're looking for them. So the conversations are completely different. Like we
Well,
have
we
to.
actually have both. We actually have both. So we have a large volume of PPC, but then we also have we have some volume of call leads. We have some volume of SMS leads also.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we have like a little bit of everything.
But SMS might it's going away, man. Like, dude,
For sure, for sure. That's going to be just done.
bro, I invested over $200,000 on a texting platform that's just sitting on the freezer right now.
Dude, you know what? Hey, let's talk about it, man. We might pick it up.
Let's talk about it. So, because
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
do something with it.
yeah.
It's there, and I'm not because the problem is 10 DLC. Eventually, even if you do things right,
Oh, the 10 DLC is one thing. It's the new thing, the FTC law, the FTC regulation, and that's like you have to with the FTC regulation, you have to now tell it from starting January, and you're going to see a lot of change coming up. You're going to see some people like get out of the business. 100% sure of it. It's the biggest regulation lead generators have had probably in the last 20 years. But you now have to tell the seller who's going to be working him. Like I have to tell the seller now from January who I'm going to sell this lead to before that seller clicks the submit and get my offer button. So like I have to have the name right there. Like, hey, this John Smith from whatever.com LLC is going to be calling you to help you with your cash offer. I have to say that before they click on the button. That's the new law. And so with SMS, that's like that's going to make it a lot different. That's going to make it a lot harder. This is going to like the new regulation is freaking ridiculous. It's mostly because of it's actually mostly because of like the insurance industry and the amount of volume that they generate and like cold call and all that stuff.
Yeah, for Medicaid and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. Because that's who you hear is like you hear that's who you usually get is like, hey, is your car warranty or like is your insurance or whatever. But we're all falling under that because we're also
Yeah.
calling, texting, and all that. So that new regulation, we hired a good attorney, one of the best attorneys for that. So I'm going to be spending some time with him. Yeah, very fucking expensive, man. Like what, $1,200 an hour?
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean that's what
I was
attorneys.
like,
That's why they went to school for 10 years for, right?
I
So
was like, man, every time I pay them, I'm like, should have gone to school to do that shit. They
yeah,
wouldn't have to have any employees.
yeah, yeah. Just $1,200 an hour. Let's go. So yeah, things are definitely changing, but I think AI also will interfere with a lot of the ways on how we lead generate. Now, we were talking about that yesterday here in the office. I told people, I said, look, I know when I'm talking to a freaking robot, man. And
Mm,
I personally don't like talking to a bot, period.
yeah,
Even if the bot is funny, because some of those bots, you know how you can build them where they do funny things.
yeah,
Hey, look at me. I'm just a bot, but you know what? Blah, 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 blah. And it makes you laugh or whatever. I want to talk to a human being that can use rationale and say, okay, this is how I fix your problem, or this is what we can do. So I don't think you're ever going to replace that, at least not in our lifetime. But it's definitely getting crazy and crazy and crazy. I think cold calling will continue to work, as long as you're not calling the DNC list. You should be okay. I mean, I can literally pick up my cell phone and just start fucking hand dialing, and that's who's gonna tell me no? Like,
yeah. So cold calling is beautiful, man. It's one of those things. It's like flipping. You can always bet that it will be there, man.
bro, and we don't do triple dialers or any of that. We don't do automatic dialers. I mean, we have an automatic dialer, but it's one dial at a time.
I see. I see.
So I'm compliant 100% as far as I know.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
our callers, they're connecting with people and they're saying, hey, is this Gene? Yeah. Boom. And then we start our way of talking to them. But I'm not uploading 100,000 contacts and trying to do 10,000 dials a day to talk to 20 people. We don't do that. Like,
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because like that new regulation, if you look at the now, there's the letter of the law and there's this like spirit of the law or whatever. I'm not, a big legal guy, but like the letter is such like if you read it, it's like if you're gonna be doing robocalls, you have to comply with this. Everybody's kind of treating it that you have to comply with it anyway. So, but that's the gray area, and that's where we want to talk like to these lawyers about and like just kind of see what we can implement there. But yeah, that like robocalls specifically is what they're worried about, and AI calls. There was another thing that came out from one of these government agencies about AI calling just a couple months ago. Um, Same thing, like these you probably heard of this Air AI thing, um, which dude, I want to get your. I don't know how much you know about it, but someone tried to sell that thing to me, man. Someone tried to sell me a license for that,
let me
and
tell
I
you what happens with me and AI, okay? We have like Chat GPT and we got a lot of these AI tools that we use in the office. And my thing is, AI is evolving so fast that I haven't figured one out yet before version 5 is you know and you're like, man, I haven't even figured this one out, and now you got version number 5. Like, how the heck do I get up to speed on that? So I,
Yeah.
I I sort of put AI to the side for a while. For now, I'm not gonna put it forever. We use it for daily things, but I'm focused on the human factor. Like, because my deal is we want to get to, let's say, 300 agents by the end of next year.
Hmm.
So I have to make sure my agents are the best agents I can train.
Yeah.
And then, because I don't think AI is going to replace a badass agent, somebody that has common sense, somebody that can make offers, put things on their contract, understand the seller, and understand feelings and things like that. And eventually AI will get there, but I don't think we're there yet. So I still want to benefit from the human factor. It's like, okay, let's say they come up with a badass tool for coding with AI, right?
Mhm.
Is that going to replace your one of your best coders? Probably not yet. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
he's gonna know how to troubleshoot, right? Like, and AI will be able to troubleshoot too, but I don't think AI has common sense yet. And don't get me wrong, Skynet is a real thing. If you watched Terminator, right? Like, now
Oh,
I
it's going to
believe
happen. At some point, it's going to happen.
it's gonna happen. Yeah,
At some point. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Skynet is a real thing. Like, fucking Terminator is gonna.
It's
I,
just it's too early to bet your whole business on it.
but it's too early to bet your whole business on it. That's correct. And that's why I put the AI thing to the side. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna distract myself with this right now. I just want to focus on what we're doing, which is our core is calling and lead management and selling properties and things like that. Steven says the lead system works. Suggestion: have Ricardo call a couple of leads and come across better. Yeah, I'll talk to you about this offline, Gene. About maybe getting a few of our guys to call some of those leads
Oh, dude,
on
that would be fun. That would be
on like
fun.
a
Yeah.
Saturday.
You guys, like, what do you do? Set appointment, or you actually take it down also?
We can do everything. I mean, but one thing we can do is we can get five or now let's say 10 of your clients,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, that are on a recurring basis with you,
Yeah.
and we'll do a restream like this live with your clients.
Yeah.
Maybe they're acquisitions guys or something like that, and I'll get my call callers and lead managers to call the leads. And when the clients convert, my guys make some money, and they make money, and you sell a lead or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
and,
down. I'm
and
down.
maybe we can do something like that.
Yeah, dude, I'm down. Yeah, we got to talk about that because,
Yeah.
yeah, we have people that have some money to spend on leads, but not enough experience to like get the seller into the right conversation. So they need a lot of them need that help. Like they'll a lot of customers, like, they'll actually have like a 9 to 5 job and have some money coming in, and they want to gamble that money, if you will, on lead generation and wholesaling, because they're trying to make, they're trying to close their
Yeah,
like
they want to open
second,
another
third
stream
deal.
of income.
Yeah, but they're far away from your guys that are on the phone. They got this thing down, dude.
Yeah, but like I still don't want to take on the responsibility to lock it up. Like,
Mm-mm.
because otherwise I just do it for me. Like, why am I gonna
Yeah,
give a
yeah.
contract? Scott Morse.
Oh yeah,
So I'm talking to Scott, and he's like, Ricardo, some of these clients, man, they want me to get the lead, they put it on their contract, and sell it for them too. I might as well do it for myself, It's like, and Scott and I are great friends, and I'm like, dude, like, I get the same thing. So that's why I'm saying we get some of your guys involved that are paying for your service, and then those are their leads, but we'll work the initial portion of the lead, and we'll send them to them, and then they lock it up and they do whatever they need to do, and they put it back on your system, and they get to sell them. So it could
yes,
be like a one day, like a Saturday thing, and I'll make 10 of
dude.
my guys show up, and
I'm
and
down
we'll
for it. I'm down for any kind of cool shit, man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
let's do it. Let's coordinate it with Jury. That way he can help us coordinate with some of your people. And
Oh yeah,
but next week let's display the platform, guys.
let's do it.
Gene is gonna come up. He's gonna show us I speak to leads and I speak to deals. You're gonna see how the whole thing works. By the way, don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much, Ian. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Ricardo. It was great being with you, man. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. It's great being with you too, man.